couple of years before the release of Batman Begins, and after the original quadrilogy had ended, Warner Brothers wanted to revisit that sandbox. In this case, that litter box. Yeah, on August 13th, 2004, here in the UK, we had released Catwoman. Yeah, 1 hour and 44 minutes of the feline femme fatale. Yeah, now this film had been planned for quite a while by Warner Brothers. They wanted to do a spin-off from Batman Returns with Michelle Pfeiffer in the role of the Catwoman. If you remember, at the end of that film, there is actually a scene where you see that Catwoman is still out and about there, and this was going to set that up. Only this film never came to fruition. Michelle Pfeiffer wasn't really interested in resuming the role of Catwoman because she wasn't happy with the outfit and how uncomfortable it was for her during the filming of Batman Returns. Thusly, she opted out. So this film took a considerable amount of time to get to us. It was fraught with problems throughout production. It was screened for test audiences who didn't like it. It was taken back. It was re-edited. There was a release. There was like a sort of an unofficial bootleg release, shall we say, that made its way onto the internet, that garnered poor critical response and all this sort of a thing. So the film was just it was a turbulent time. There was a point at which they were also considering actually cutting this film altogether and including the film star Halle Berry as Catwoman in the upcoming Batman Begins movie. That was possibly on the cards because obviously Batman Begins came out in 2005, a year or two after this movie did. Now, this movie was cast Halle Berry. She was given the role of Catwoman, but not Selina Kyle. She was cast as a character called Patience Phillips. Sharon Stone was the film's primary villain as Laurel Hedar. And the film was topped up with a love interest as a police officer, a detective by the name of Tom Lane, played by Benjamin Bratt. Now, you've got two Academy Award winning actresses there, Halle Berry and Sharon Stone. Powerhouses in their own right within the acting world. So what could possibly go wrong? Film's director, Pitoff, who has pretty much directed nothing of interest, from my perspective anyway. He'd worked on visual effects in Alien Resurrection in 1997 and has done other stuff. He was given a budget of $100 million for this movie, and the film would go on at the worldwide box office to take 82,102,000. So a flop. Yeah, financial flop for Warner Brothers. They were not happy at all. Now, me personally, I take myself back to that time. Let's take myself back to 2003, 2004, like I do. See where I was when I saw this film. Now, I saw this film at the cinema. I did. I was going to see all comic book movies. I can't remember anything about it. Can't tell you nothing about the cinema trip, who I went with, where I saw it, or anything of the like. The film's obviously not a film that I've revisited often, but I did watch it last night for this, specifically to sit here and talk about it for you kind folk who are watching. Yeah, how good am I to sit through this film? So anyway, the film follows the story of Patience Phillips. Now, is this set within the Batman world or not? Because there is no mention of Gotham City or the like. No mention of Batman, but you do see Selina Kyle on a photo within the film. Selina Kyle from Batman Returns, suggesting that, this is set within the same universe. Patience Phillips goes through the same process of origin as does Selina Kyle in Batman Returns. Yeah, she falls, well, she gets killed basically, and she gets resurrected by cats as a sort of zombie version of herself. Just not looking so sort of zombified as Selina Kyle came across at times within Batman Returns. But it's all there. She's killed, she's resurrected by cats, because throughout history there's been loads of cat women that are given resurrection by Egyptian cats or some mumbo jumbo of that sort of ilk. So she gets resurrected. She's killed by her boss because she comes along and finds out that there's actually this stuff going on within her company that makes beauty products, and this beauty product, what it does is it makes people look like a lot younger, but at the same time it's damaging them and damaging their skin and all this underneath. Sharon Stone has been using this for years, and thusly she becomes the film's villain because she's using this makeup product that gives her this like marble hard skin, right, and this nonsense. So Halle Berry's, she gets the powers of Catwoman. She goes out and does whatever she does, and even thinking about and talking about the film now, the story's just ridiculous. Cops after her because Catwoman, Sharon Stone, what can I say? I can't even think of the story because it's just ludicrous. It's just something about makeup, making people sick. They want to make lots of money. Sharon Stone kills her husband, pins it on Catwoman, blah, 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 blah. Detective goes after her, catches Catwoman, but Catwoman gets escaped, saves the detective. They realise that she's not the bad girl that she is, blah, blah, blah. Now, this film, the story, as I've just explained to you, is not particularly good. It's not very riveting. It's not very... there's nothing about it. The film itself is shot in such a way that it's horrible. When you've got scenes of fighting and even the basketball scene, which I'll come back to, it's cut. It's so many cuts, cut to put these scenes together, so you can't really see what's going on. So that indicates that the choreography's rather bad in those scenes, to have all these cuts putting it together to make the action look fast and this sort of thing, whereas it's probably a load of crap whatsoever. Like I said, the basketball scene, this is on par with Daredevil's scene in the park when Daredevil and Lecter on that sort of I forget what they call them now, horse type thing, seesaw, but worse. That's far better. It's cringy. The acting within the film, I know Halle Berry got given a Razzie for this film, but it's primarily because the film is bad. Halle Berry wasn't too bad in it. There are some scenes where she's okay. Okay, some of her lines are really bad, and when she's acting like a cat, it's just awful. Don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking it out, but there's certain scenes that Halle Berry does deliver in the acting department, and her bouncing off of Benjamin Bratt is quite enjoyable. There's nothing wrong with the two of them. They have got a bit of chemistry on screen. Sharon Stone, she kind of phones it in this film. She ain't particularly good. There's been other roles that she has been in other films that she's been a very, very good actress, but not so much in this film. Benjamin Bratt is, like I said, I didn't really have an issue with him in the film, although, ironically, Sharon Stone didn't want him to be in... He was meant to be one of the choices for the role in Basic Instinct 2, and she didn't want it because of his acting ability. So says her. But yeah, then we get down to the special effects of the film. Now, this film, being that it's an early era 2000s movie, much like Blade 2, much like Daredevil, much like the first Spider-Man film, to a much lesser degree, you've got those CGI people running around and doing stuff. Yeah, Blade 2 was very bad for it. Daredevil had it, and this film has it in droves. Now, it looks far worse in this film because you're looking at an individual that isn't fully clothed. There's a lot of skin tone and texture, so it looks very sort of rubbery, like plastic person running around and jumping about. It's awful. The CG wasn't there yet to be able to do that. The Catwoman costume itself, it's like a BDSM kind of sex outfit. So in that respect, I'm fine with it. No, Halle Berry looks fantastic when she's in the outfit. You're never looking at her face. Let's just say that she looks really, really good. And the difference between the character of her as Patience Phillip and her as Catwoman, you've got a difference in how she carries herself and all this sort of thing within her physicality and her performance. As Patience Phillips at the beginning of the film, she's sort of on these like very mediocre sort of characters, like shy and all this sort of thing. With her sense dress is somewhat questionable, shall we say? But the minute she's killed and she's turned into Catwoman, her dress sense becomes far superior, far better than what it was before, which kind of makes no sense. This must be one of her powers. But yeah, but ultimately, you know, I'm talking about this film like, you know, it's a poor film. It's a bad film. Let's not cut any bones about this. This is an abysmal film. It's a film mostly forgotten. It is a film that is in my collection actually, because I get all the stuff that's sort of comic book related. But no, the soundtrack for the film is not memorable at all. I've come up in now. I can't tell you who scored the film, but I can't even pick out anything where the soundtrack even helped the film along that stood out to me as that being that's quite a decent, you know, little bit of score there, but there's nothing of that. This film is just it's a film at best left forgotten, shall we say. But anyway, so that was it. Just a little chat about this movie, this flop of a movie that came out in 2004. Yeah, and this is AJ. Thank you for watching. Please consider hitting the subscribe button and coming back tomorrow for something else. This is AJ. Thanks for watching. See you later all. Take care and goodbye.